this morning, sunshine through the clouds, feeling the healing, laughter all around. Rise up and stand tall, joy in every stride. No more tears to fall, let your spirit guide. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams. You're always winning, more than it seems. Hear the drums calling, dancing to the dawn. Keep on believing, strength in every song. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams. You're always winning, more than it seems. Hear the drums calling, dancing to the dawn. Keep on believing, strength in every song. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams. You're always winning, more than it seems.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast. My name is Tisha, and I am the host of the Blessed Girl Summer Podcast, where we learn to live, love, and cultivate a life of peace and joy. And I'm so glad to have you guys with me. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you are a repeat listener or viewer, hey. Now, so I started a new acronym, which is BGSS, which is Blessed Girl Summer Sister. So, hey, BGSS. And yeah, we are still going strong in season 3. And this season, we're keeping it personal. I am just sharing some personal growth that I've done. And for today's episode, though, I'm actually going to be selling. Nope, not going to be selling nothing. I'm actually going to be sharing some self-help books, some things that have really been helpful for me as I have navigated this space of growth, right? And so, I'm going to be sharing self-help books and I'm going to be sharing podcasts. I am a podcast girl. Not only am I a podcaster, I am an avid podcast listener. But I really, I'm trying to branch out a little bit, but typically I only want to hear like self-help stuff that stuff that I can apply to myself, to make me better, to make my situation better. That is definitely what I gravitate to. I did recently, this is like so off topic. I did recently listen to an Audible that was it felt like a movie. It felt like I was watching a movie. It was called Stranded. And what caught my eye is because Tracy Ellis Ross was the narrator, well, an actor in it. She wasn't narrating it, and Taraji P Henson was also speaking in it. So I was like, this is giving me movie vibes. And so when I listened to it, it was like an Audible movie. It was really cool. So I think I might start doing that a little bit more. It just not seeing it and hearing it, hearing the sounds and the stuff, and it just causes you to create your own visualization of like what is happening, which was fun for me. So anyway, that'll be something that I'll be trying to explore more, and I'm sure I'll do an episode once I have a good amount of them that I can share. The one that I'm talking about on Audible, it was actually free. It was actually, and that's another reason it was free. I have a membership, but I didn't have to pay for it. Now, be forewarned, it's got some cussing in it. They doing what they do, but it was my first time listening to an audio movie, I want to call it. And it was pretty cool. So, with all that being said, um, I want to share with you some self help books and some podcasts that I have been listening to in 2024. And so the first one, and this is my latest read, I'm still working through this book, but I'm like almost like I am confident that I will be done with this book in like a week or so. It is called The Sugar Jar. And I should, if I was all together, right? My phone is someplace else. Let me see. I got to get the names of the authors. Like, how dare I? How dare I do this podcast and not have the name of the authors? Well, while I am getting that for you, The Sugar Jar is a book. It is written by a therapist. And she is just, it's such a good book. She talks about really self care, but like how we can make sure that we're getting the care that we actually need to get. And it's like we are the jar and the sugar is us, right? Is the sugar is our how healthy we are in our current states, like how much in need we are of self care, how much in need we are pouring into ourselves versus being pouring out. And so it's like a really great analogy of like something could be taking sugar out the jar and something could be putting sugar in. Like what is doing what, and like how is the environment impacting the amount of sugar? It's just it is a really really good book. Um, I'm doing it no justice right now, but I encourage you guys to definitely check it out. Definitely check it out. So here I am giving the name of the author. Here we go. Her name is Yasmin Chaney. Yasmin Chaney. And her book is called The Sugar Jar. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a referral from another therapist that I follow. And I definitely recommend that as a read. The next book that I read last year, was Church Girl. And that book was by Dr. Sarita Lyons. It was so good. As a church girl, as someone who's grown up in the church, she talks about a lot of things that I have experienced in the church, but she also was talking about it from a position again of self care and rest and what that looks like, and how sometimes um, we can misunderstand what God has called us to do and how He's called us to move based upon things that we learned about religion that aren't necessarily biblical, and how that can impact us as an individual. And she gives some really great tips for moving forward, moving out of that, and creating a space for yourself where you really, really learn how to rest in God. She does a lot of talking about this thought process that we have to be grinding, we have to be working, especially the Black woman, that we have a lot, that we have to always be doing something in order to be purposeful, in order to be valuable, in order to be worthy. And and then she goes into like where that is rooted from, how that is not the case, and empowers us and shows us what worth and value look like. And so it's really, really, really a good book. I definitely recommend that. So that's Church Girl um, by Sarita Lyons. The next one is my favorite. It's one of my favorite books. It is called, I do have this one here with me. This one is called The Garden Within by Dr. Anita Phillips. Oh, I was about to say, where is my book? Bear with me, y'all. I'm getting my book. About to say, who done took my book? Okay. The Garden Within by Dr. Anita Phillips, where the war with your emotions ends and your most powerful life begins. Whew. I love Dr. Anita. She has such a gift when it comes to combining or bringing greater understanding to mental health and Christianity together. Um, oh, she's so talented in this and science. So, mental health, psychology, science, and Christianity, and merging and showing you the interconnectedness of them, but in a practical, tangible way that you can understand, that makes sense to you, that shows you how all the parts and the pieces of your body were designed and created by God to function a certain way, and how they all matter and how they all connect. Y'all, this book is really, really good. If y'all don't read no other book, read this one. The Garden Within. I'm just going to tell you to read it. This is about the condition of your heart, but how it impacts your body, how it impacts your mind, and how the Word of God also, and how all those things were created that way on purpose, right? So check that book out. Um, Now, let me switch over a little bit. I'm gonna go back and forth between books and podcasts. Let me switch to a podcast. The podcast that I listen to is called "Consider This," and that is by Nidra Tawwab. She is also a therapist. Um, I don't know what license she has. Um, Nidra Glover Tawwab. It doesn't matter, really. It's just on my mind right now. But I love listening to her. She has a book also called Consider This. I have the Audible, I just haven't listened to it yet. But her podcast, I really like her podcast. So what she does in her podcast is that she takes people share their challenges with her, and you'll hear the audio of them sharing the challenge, and then she'll break it apart, and like almost it's almost like therapy, but it's not, the person's not there or anything like that, but she's just like, talking about what she's hearing, asking different questions that you might want to ask yourself at this point. It's just really a good way to show you, I guess, how sometimes you can break down some things for yourself. And then, it's always great to listen in, to almost kind of be like a fly on the wall, to listen in, to give you a different perspective, to give you some tools for yourself, and just to hear what folks are going through and things that you might be going through as well, and how she helps them navigate those spaces. So that's a good podcast. Um, and her voice calms me. Like, oh, let me turn on this podcast and listen to Nedra. I think her name is Nedra. I said Nidra. Nedra. Listen to Nedra and listen to Nedra talk, because it just has she has a calming presence. So, yeah, if you ever just want to, chill out a little bit, learn something while you're chilling out, um, even from the title, consider this. That's how she approaches it. Like, let's consider this, So check that one out. My other podcast is Woman Evolve. Y'all know Sarah Jakes Roberts. What I like about Sarah's podcast is that, first of all, her transparency. I love when she says stuff. And it's just really just so transparent to her. I think it lends to such an authenticity that it is inspiring, right? I think that sometimes it can be challenging for folks to find their voice, or to even feel like their voice is important, or their voice matters, or that people even want to hear their thoughts. And so to have her be so transparent and authentic and vulnerable. So she has a good combination. Um, so authenticity is a good combination of transparency and vulnerability. And so she has a really good authentic tone to what she does, and that just, every time I hear her, that puts me at ease, because I feel like she's just being her, which gives me space to just be me. And that's kind of what authenticity does. Like, when we show up as our authentic selves, that allows other people to have space to be authentic as well. And so I really, really like her podcast because of that. She also drops a lot of nuggets. She's also, well, it's called Women Evolve. So she's always on a growth journey. So she's always learning. And so she takes it from like that type of space. Um, and she also has a really good guest that I am typically, a lot of the people that she have on there, I'm like already following them or have read their books. Like a couple of people I've already mentioned, she already had them on there. Um, and so that's always interesting. And then to just be able to, because she's so authentic and because she is able to express herself in such a way, it makes for authentic conversation, which is really refreshing because I think not only is it authentic, but it goes below the surface. And I think a lot of times we find ourselves engaged in conversations that are so surfacey that when we hear authentic, deeper conversations, it's good. It feels good to me. So that's why I like the podcast. And you learn stuff, and she just be herself. So sometimes she be silly, sometimes she be ratchet, sometimes she be, so you just get to experience that sisterhood, that girlfriend type thing with her. Um, Another book for the couples, for those who are married. I just started this book, but I heard really good things about this book. I'm trying to think whose podcast she was on. I want to say I don't remember whose podcast she was on that I heard her from. Hmm. I will have to think about that. But anyway, the book is called My Husband, My Hero, and it is written by Dr. Julie Slatery. And another podcast that I listened to, she was on, and it was just so good. When she was on the podcast, she was just dropping so many gems. I was like, "Well, name me a book. Let me let me listen to this book." So she has a book called "Finding the Hero in Your Husband," um, and it's a very good book. And so I'm still working through it. It is one of those books. It's for women, clearly, but it's one of those books that you might wrestle with a little bit. You might wrestle with. I'm wrestling with it. So it has been taken. I've been taking it in bits and pieces. I know it is truth. I know it is things that I need to adjust. I need to work on. But how you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. So it is one of those type of books. So be prepared that it's going to challenge you. Um, but it's a good challenge, and she has such a grace for it. So it doesn't make you feel like attacked or anything like that. But it's a really good book. I recommend it for wives. Whether your relationship is rocky, your relationship is maybe you feel like you're at a stalemate. Maybe your relationship is doing good and you just want to, know how to better develop it, better develop yourself. It really is going to be about you. Um, let's be clear about that. So, yep, that's one of them. Pull up your big girl drawers and button up your pants and put your belt on and sat down and listen. But it's really good. It's really good. The second book that I recommend for couples is something that we did in one of our couples groups. It's called How We Love. And let me get the name of the author. Okay. By Millian and Kay Yurkovich. Yurkovich. It's called How We Love. Discover your love styles, enhance your marriage. It's a really, really good book. And it talks about the different ways in which we love, and it gives you a really good, and it comes from evidence based information. It's a good merge of evidence based and Christianity together. And so it just gives you it's a great, great resource to explore who you are, how you love, why you love that way, and what that means, and how that love style shows up in your marriage, and then the same thing for your spouse. And then how do you learn to love each other, right? And so it's a really good book. Definitely recommend it. Still on books, Drama Free by Nedra Tawwab. It's called Drama Free, and it says A Guide to Managing Unhealthy Relationships. Um, that was a great book. She also has Set Boundaries, Find Peace, which I have read. But her latest one is Consider This. But the one prior to that was Drama Free. So I'm recommending Drama Free because that was a really, really good book. It tells you, it helps you navigate family relationships specifically. And so it's a really great resource. And I highly recommend it. I got her book back on my bookshelf. Okay, so we got a few more I want to share with you. Another podcast that I recently started listening to is called Mindful with Nina B. She is also a therapist. My stuff is full of like therapists. People who are not just talking about like life experiences, but also have like evidence based information to apply with that and have been with several people. It's not just like their life experiences, it's what they've encountered with other people combined with evidence based thinking, theory, research. I like those kind of books because I feel like they help you a little bit more. So, Mindful with Mina B podcast is a really great podcast. She just talks a lot about mindfulness and how we can incorporate it in like the different things like setting boundaries, eliminating guilt, being able to forgive, like stuff like that. In her voice, it's the voices for me. I've been told my voice is kind of like a nice tone too, but it's my voice, so I don't really, it doesn't do that for me. But something about her, like I can listen to her. I like to listen to her podcast in the morning when I'm getting my day started. And it's just like really refreshing, encouraging. And she has like an accent a little bit too. So she also, I'm just going to jump to her book because she also has a book that I recently started reading. Now, I'll be in between different books. So, and there'll be some that be like, oh, I need this right now. Then I finish that book. But I'll go in between and typically I get like halfway through a book. Um, but then I'll hear something about another book and then I'll be wanting to get that book. But anyway, I'm still working through her book, but it's called Owning Our Struggles. And it's good too. It helps you work through some of the challenges and things that you might be facing, some of the things that her clients have faced, some of the things that she has faced, and how they've been able to navigate it, and her advice to help you navigate it as well. So that is a really great book. And if you listen to the Audible, you get to hear the voice again. So, you know, um, all right, another podcast. I got two more podcasts, and then we're done. Um, the Jada Edwards podcast. She is a pastor. I don't even know. I think she's in Dallas. I don't know where her church is. Her and her husband have a church. I really like Jada. So Jada is a pastor, but she also like has a full-time job. Like she's some corporate doing something in corporate. Um, and but she also, is a pastor and she has really great conversation. She has a lot of great interviews. I feel like, when I first saw her, I actually went to this woman's conference. I went to this church. I didn't know nobody at this church. I had gone to the church like a couple of times, and and I said, I was desperate for growth, and so I was like, they having a conference, I'm gonna go. I ain't know nobody. So I went one Saturday and sat at a table with some ladies, and I think did they have Christine Kane? They were showing video from the conference. I don't know if they have another location. I don't remember exactly how that worked out, but there were some people that were there in person, and there were some videos that we were watching, and it was a couple. I think that's what sparked me wanting to go because I think there were a couple of speakers on the lineup that I was familiar with, and she was one of them. I had never heard of her, but she was so good. She was talking about basically show me me, like asking the Lord to show me who I am, show me the spaces in me that are still in need of work, the things that I don't know about myself that you know about me, the spaces in where I can grow, the true heart of the matter for me. What are my real fears? And it was just really, really good. So ever since then, I started following her, and she has a podcast, and she's a deep thinker, and I like deep thinkers. And she also has like a lot of great guests. So, and they have deep conversations. Y'all see a theme. I want to go below the surface. So yeah, analytical. So I really like her. Check out her podcast, Jada Edwards podcast. And then the last podcast I'm going to mention is called Better Together. That is a podcast. They also are on, and I think pretty much all of these podcasts you can find, except for Woman Evolve. Um, I don't think Woman Evolve podcast is not online. She has a Woman Evolve TV app, which I recommend. I mean, you could view all of the conferences, the past conferences from there. They had little mini series that they've done, like mini like little movie series things that they've done. They've had all her different talks, all her tours, all of her podcasts are on there. The visual part of it. So, and it's really cheap, y'all. It's like $4.99 a month. So that is for that. But back to Better Together. Better Together podcast. Is on YouTube. And so it's really, it's ideally something that I would love to do in the future. Definitely wanted to do in the past, where you get women together, and y'all talk about a certain topic and you share your experience around that topic. So they talk about like friendships, they talk about marriage, they talk about disappointments, they talk about suicidal ideation. They might talk about fear. They might talk about not trusting God. They might talk about church hurt. Like they talk about it all. And it's so many different perspectives. I love that it's a variety of people, meaning variety of nationalities, diverse. It can be very diverse, but it's women. And it's like a round, not even, I want to say a round robin. It's just like a circle conversation where people are just sharing their heart. And the other thing that I really like about it is some of these people are people that we know, like sometimes, I don't know if you're familiar with like Mary, different pastors, different teachers, different people that maybe you didn't even know were believers, but or that maybe you admired. They have them on, so it changes. It's not the same people. It's like a TV. It's almost like it's not like The View, because I feel like, but kind of like The View, but not really. Um, I'm trying to think. Would it compare to The Real? So I feel like The Real had like some gimmicky things that they did, like games. They're not doing that, like games and stuff. It's really around the conversation, and I can't quite think of what I want to compare it to. I guess the closest thing would be The Real. I guess that would be it, because all the ladies were there and they'd be talking about stuff and sharing of their experiences. Except this is more vulnerable and authentic than that, and Christ centered. Um, so it's good, and I think it does me good too to see people that like Priscilla Schreier, like to see people who you always see, maybe at like a certain level, to come on and talk about something personal, like a personal experience. Like, oh, you struggle with friendship too? You was a bad friend? Like, you know what I mean? So those are just really great conversations. And it always has a nice tone to it as well. So those are my definite recommendations for self-help and continued growth, right? That maybe you guys want to check out in 2025. I'll be collecting my new library this year, and continuing to move forward in that. Y'all let me know if you want something like specific to like therapy or mental health, like specific to mental health, because I'm sure I can conjure up some of those things as well on like a specific topic. Be happy to do that as well. Or if you're looking for, that's pretty much what's been going on with me these days between marriage and mental health, self help, self care. That's my space. But I did listen to a couple of finance books, and I will have more of those in 2025 because that's on my list. I wonder what is on y'all list for 2025. Like, what things do you want to learn more about? What things do you want to study up on? I love to know what is on your list for 2025. I have read a few money books. I'm looking at them now. One off the top of my head that I could recommend that was pretty interesting and didn't feel like the regular, because I've listened to a lot, read a lot, but it was kind of interesting. It's called The Black Girl's Guide to Financial Freedom by Paris Woods. I listened to that whole book, so it must have been good for a sister. So yeah, I'll throw that one out there too as one of my 2024 reads. But let me know. Let me know what y'all gonna be listening to, what y'all gonna be reading, what y'all gonna be doing, how y'all gonna be growing, what self help is gonna look like for you. Here I go. All right, y'all. That is it. Thanks for listening. Be sure to share this episode. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope that you continue to secure your peace and cultivate your joy. Talk to you later.
Woke up this morning, sunshine through the clouds, feeling the healing, laughter all around. Rise up and stand tall, joy in every stride. No more tears to fall, let your spirit guide. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams. You're always winning, more than it seems. Hear the drums calling, dancing to the dawn. Keep on believing, strength in every song. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams. You're always winning, more than it seems. Hear the drums calling, dancing to the dawn. Keep on believing, strength in every song. Blessed go summer, shining through the night. Brighter than thunder, you're the morning light. Life keeps on spinning, hold on to your dreams. You're always winning, more than it seems.